welcome to Finnish Black Metal Time, when this time we have a band called Curse Upon a Prayer, which I previously joked about. You should really try to sing that name as like Bon Jovi's song, Living on a Prayer. Now let that sink in with you. This new album is The Worship, Orthoprax Satanism, and now we're in the deeper end of religious or very philosophical take of Satanism, rather than just challenging those Christian features, people and all, with some black metal. And this is one of the new school black metal bands from Finland. That is, the guys, or at least some of them, being rather new generation, younger people. And already, despite of that, or maybe because of that, Curse Upon a Prayer has been putting out interesting music. Quite a few albums already, this being the number 4, and this time, if I got it right, their own label. The Cursed Order is here. Here you have some liner notes and of course the lineup, and then you have this nice looking booklet. Maybe not the most readable font, but should be good enough for you, with nice pair of eyes and all. And then we have this really good looking picture of the lineup, as well as some featured people here. And gotta say, I really like the aesthetics the band is offering, yet never see them live, so that is something that I'm still waiting for to happen. So here are some Finnish, some English, and this is how Curse Upon a Prayer, the Worship album, looks like. Let's take a look at the band's Metal Archive site while I guide you through the music and all. So what started in 2010 wasn't really Curse Upon a Prayer until 2014, and that's exactly when the first album, the debut one from the Lands of Demise, got out. So we can kind of call it 10 years old by now. And after that, 1 year later, Rotten Tongues, 5 years later, Infidel, and now 4 years later, The Worship. Don't know what really happened here in terms of the pace slowing down, but these are sometimes out of hands for various reasons. Sometimes the music has been ready there for years and it just comes out very slowly, even if that steady songwriting has been right there. And the members list only mentioned 2 people, but there's some live musicians and past members. And if you take a look at this one, the latest album, these 2 guys, which are not mentioned here as the official lineup, are however listed as guest musicians, session musicians, whatever. I don't really know what the truth is, because this doesn't really make difference between the real lineup and session lineup, and you have indeed 4 guys in the picture. So I haven't yet fixed it. Maybe someone eventually will, or maybe it is correct like that. Goes beyond the scope of this review anyway, so let's work our way through and focus on the Worship album, which is 57 minutes with 10 tracks. Now this already gonna do some red flags for a lot of people who are kind of used to more like 40 minutes give and take out through some 8 to 10 songs. And while that is very much a good pattern for a lot of bands, going from say 3 to 5 minute songs, Curse Upon a Prayer hasn't been afraid of doing something else, like the 8-minute opening track, or past 10 minutes track, the 9th one. And it is where it gets kind of a complicated for a lot of bands. A lot of bands are unable to do these lengthier tracks, like these 9-minute tracks in the middle of the album, because it's hard to really make a good song that lasts for, say, more than 7-8 minutes. Sometimes those songs do exist, and sometimes it's like, okay, it doesn't matter what the length is, if you're good in songwriting and all, it's gonna work like that. But most of the times, I'm gonna be the guy who says this out loud. It's not gonna work. And that's really part of the case with Curse Upon a Prayer too. Then again, it's not also really a problem with this given album, because it's very versatile, maybe their most diverse album so far, having a lot of different ideas put into one box. For some people, this is really a mixed bag of goodies, with the focus on good rather than bad, but there are gonna be a lot of people gonna say, yeah, it's too much all over the place and it's not too focused. Think about Puncture Division Martyr, where it's just one thing through 10 songs in less than 30 minutes. Some people love it, me included, while some people say it's boring because all the songs are too much the samey, too much repetition and all. I doubt these same people would say the same thing about the Worship album, because it has a variety of different things coming from the school of modern black metal. Now, whether you call it a kind of a third wave black metal or the kind of a transition phase album with the second and third wave, well, that is very, very depending on how you view the so-called third wave. Does it even exist? Or is this more like a second wave thing done with modern tools and ways? Well, let's put it this way. There are lots of parts where it's kind of get melodic. And calling this melodic black metal isn't outright lying, but it's not giving you the full scope of understanding what this album is. There are also lots of, say, atmospheric parts, but calling this atmospheric black metal might be actually really misleading. Calling it just outright second black metal doesn't really mean a thing. Because first of all, if you go back to the early 90s, there was already a variety of bands, from Burzums to Satyricons to Enslaved and, Immortals, Mayhems, whatever. And this isn't exactly sounding like any of those, which is why I'm putting this more closer to the third wave mark. But even that is not really describing it, because there are a lot of bands coming from the third wave which are more in the dissonant sense of style, sounding very, very modern and very different from the second wave. So where exactly would you put an album like this, which has the melodic parts, the faster parts, the mid-tempo parts, the atmospheric parts and all that stuff? And now you get my meaning what I'm saying about mixed bag of goodies. Yes, it's a great thing that this band isn't including like 10 songs which sound the same. But it's also actually missing the actual hit songs. I'm repeating here actual because I kind of want to emphasize what I really mean here. There are lots of cool ideas. There are lots of good melodies and interesting parts. But sometimes it's a little bit all over the place. Meaning it's hard to get a grasp of those really good ideas when there's parts which are not exactly outright fillers, but don't really do the impact the best part are doing. And as such, this is kind of a bumpy road. You're going to like a lot of these ideas. And for example, the production is all the way good. And I would say those rather screamy, shrieky vocals are good. They're kind of on the high register versus the lower end of things. But there are growlier parts. Are they really needed? Maybe not so much, but there they are. And the main point is that while this is doing the melodic black metal, it's spreading out its tentacles to various directions. Sometimes too far, maybe, at least for some people. But then again, I already had a chat last weekend. Well, kind of hard to put it like last weekend compared to this album when this comes out, this video. But there was a guy, a person I know from the black metal scene saying like this is one of his highlight of the years. And I kind of understand now listening to this multiple times. Because this is going into various places. And if you can tick all those boxes for you, this is going to be the album of the year. For myself, not so much. I think 57 minutes is just too much for black metal like this on one go. And also I would say some of these songs are, in my opinion, a little bit too lengthy because they don't really justify the existence. I mean, sometimes more compact is better because it just blows like boom, delivering versus making love for hours. Now, some people like to make love for hours, so if you're one of those people, you probably don't mind the extensive length. But if you're one of those like, hey, let's have hot steam sex with 5 minutes, 10 minutes max, and it's off you go, then you're gonna like get bored with the 10 minutes tracks because it's like an endless foreplay leading to what? Actually, these last two tracks are exactly like that. The 10 minutes track here, the track number 9, is basically the warming up phase, the foreplay session, what you have there as the last track, 4 minutes in and out, very much more aggressive than the 9 ones. So this metaphor might actually work for you in the sense that sometimes the foreplay is very, very much needed and loved and all that stuff, but some people just don't want to get their beers and get the fuck out of here. So I'm gonna say this is a difficult cookie to crack. Some people gonna love it. Some people will just say, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not the album of the year. For me, I'm between these two. I'm saying this is definitely a decent album and it's a very, very highly interested album. Like I said, good production, good vocals, and a lot of good ideas. But maybe a little less and more focus on the shorter tracks, or shortening those lengthier tracks could have done better for this album. But that's just my opinion. Don't give a damn what I say. Check it out for yourself. And of course, the links are provided in the description box. So there's no reason for you not to check it out. This album was released late July 2024. So it should be already available in local distros should you prefer a physical product. And if not, you can always go with the Bandcamp and all and just listen to it. Now off you go, enjoy some Curse Upon a Prayer, and remember to pronounce the name in your head with that Bon Jovi and you're good to go. Off you go. Bye bye.